passionate about Cleveland sports.
He's going in! Touchdown!
Browns, Indians, Cavs, the Big Ten, and more.
Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond.
A swing and a drive! To deep right!
Here are your hosts, Andy Billman and Jarid Watson.
Hello and welcome. We are live on Facebook and Twitter. Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jarid Watson. And this podcast is brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out. Original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. It's been a hell of a week. This coronavirus seems to be only picking up steam across the country. So as you listen to this, I hope that you and your families and your friends and your loved ones are all safe and sound. Andy and I are hanging in there in our respective homes and getting through all this. My wife is doing a lot better. We are still staying away from each other. I admittedly am still struggling with some things that I have to deal with regarding some panic, some PTSD, some issues that I have normally and are amplified in a situation like this. And Andy, I've been thinking about it and made this connection in a comment that I left to a friend earlier. And just to explain really briefly, you know, the fight or flight stuff, when it kicks in, it's great. It's great when you're in an emergency situation. I understand my fight or flight. I know, you know, when it's time to kick into gear and go into action with whatever it may be, I'm usually pretty alert and intuitive and on it in those situations. The problem is turning that off isn't always easy. And sometimes it turns on in situations where I don't have a lot of control. This is a situation where I don't feel like a lot of us have control over anything.
Correct.
Where our only way to fight when the fight or flight kicks in is to wash our hands. And that's not really a relieving thing to do. There's not a lot that gets accomplished. It's not something you see. You're still left very unsettled. And I think that's a big part of it is we make these comments about regarding how this country is going to fight the virus, and the country is, we are going to battle this and we are going to see it through and we will win and be victorious. And it's like, this isn't a war.
No, it's not.
In the same sense that, you know, that type of bravado isn't necessarily what's going to get you through. In fact, I think it's that type of bravado has caused people to make some risky decisions in their lives. And that's just something that, I don't know, maybe the wording needs to change, whatever. I don't feel like I'm fighting anything in that sort of way. Yet my fight or flight is continuously turned on. I know that other folks that are listening to this podcast and that might be watching live probably understand those feelings and feel the same way. So just to say, you know, let you know, hey, you're not alone. You're not the only one feeling this way. Andy, how are you feeling? What's going on in your neck of the woods in Connecticut?
It's been weird. It's been weird. I'm sorry. I'm looking down. So I'm trying to multitask. I'm doing.
I know you ignored me throughout that entire.
I did not. Come on, coronavirus. Jeez, making everyone negative. Hold on, I'm just trying to forward this. I'm trying to be cool. I can't forward. Man, that's technology. That has fucked that up. All right, look. How's everything going? It's a constant whirlwind. I try to laugh through the day. I'm preparing a presentation that's going to happen in April. My workload, for some reason, has picked up this past week.
Oh,
so I'm lucky. One of the lucky ones. There's stuff that's coming up. So, but Jarid hit on something, though, that I have been feeling, too. It's very, very hard because when you walk outside today, in Connecticut, it was a beautiful, bright, sunny day. When you walk outside in Connecticut to what you're saying, you feel good. I do conference call walks is what I call them now. Like I'll walk outside and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to do a chat for an hour and a half hour. I know I can put on my headphones. I can walk up and down the street, talk to the editor, walk up and down the street, talk to some executives. And it really helps me keep my day going. And you inside, and then, you know, there's something I did today. I had a little spot on my little wristwatch. I take my steps and all that shit. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I can count my steps now. So I at one point did instinctively went, and I was like, oh fuck, do I got the coronavirus? Oh shit, brushing my teeth and
you licked your finger.
So fucking dumb.
It's like very difficult.
It is, especially where I live, because I only live 78 miles away from New York City. And that is the hotbed of hotbeds right now.
Yeah.
So my experience with coronavirus is very unique too, in that sense that like where I live in Cheshire, Connecticut, there's only 3 people. New Haven, Upper New Haven County is actually pretty light so far. But if you go 40 miles, not even 40, 30 miles down to Mare Parkway, Fairfield County is a mess. It's a big hot spot. Yeah. Then you go another 20 miles into New Rochelle. I mean, that's one of the areas that's been closed off. So it's very, very weird. And when you're going around, you're trying to live your normal life, it is sometimes you remember like, oh my gosh, we're dealing with something on days like today. And here's the one thing too that I've felt more than other people maybe have at times. It's weird to say this, and it's just in my DNA. I am not a shopper. I hate malls. I hate picking out shit. The one thing I love is grocery stores. I don't know why. Just my thing. And so to me, going to the grocery store, even though I don't stay there long,
it's all the chicks, isn't it?
I enjoy, yes. There's nothing finer on a Saturday than something with a toothpick. Even if you don't like it. Just whoop, but it doesn't matter. You can't do that anymore. So I love the grocery store. So for me now to wear plastic gloves into a grocery store and then to run around there. And by the way, even today, I love shopping at Aldi's. I think Aldi's has got great prices. And on Fridays, they usually have a big shipment of food come in. So I was one of the many people at Aldi's at 10 o'clock ready to get my food of the day. I did that while I was juggling busy schedules. It was a busy day. So I went into Aldi's, and a woman, Aldi sometimes is slow opening their lanes when they're catching people out. Yeah. So at the very end, there was 3 or 4 people, and we're online, and they open a lane. So I was trying to, like you're kind of in midway, like, do I go into the new lane? They have new people. Do I stay in here? So I'm like, I'll just stay, I'll kind of just dip into here and whatever. So one's like, I'm sorry, I was ahead of you. I'm like, oh God damn it.
Can we not have those
I mean,
people?
Seriously.
If you're one of those people, stay at home and order your food to be delivered. I mean, I'm doing that. I'm not taking my ass anywhere. I'm having everything delivered, and I will pay that extra money for it. I do not care.
So to Jared's point, and I'm cheap. I don't want to. I want to.
I know.
By the way, it's a roll of the dice. I'm not naive. It's a roll of the dice. With that said, though, the grocery store to me, which I don't say I love going to the grocery store, but I don't mind it, is becoming a hassle. Anytime now that like something like I got to go to the post office tomorrow. It's actually someone I know has ran out of toilet paper. So I bought a bunch of toilet paper. I bought one that's 24 packs. So I feel bad. I'm going to send some toilet paper to her in Utah. So that's why it's like, poor girl, like needs toilet paper. She's got kids and everything. So I'm going to mail her some stuff. So those kind of things.
No TP in Utah.
No, there is TP in Utah. She said Emily did not buy. I was one of those people too. My mom was like, you should really buy toilet paper. I'm like, no, I don't think so. Thank God. One of the last 24 packs at the store, I grabbed it. And by the way, thank God.
Yeah. Well, my dad started mailing it to us as a joke. And now it ain't so damn funny.
Not so funny. And I was also one of the last people to order hand sanitizer, which came in the mail today. I was like, oh my gosh, I got hand sanitizer. Again, I made a joke. I'm like, well, maybe I should just order it. And I paid a lot of money for it, way too much.
You did better than I did then. I bought alcohol that was 50% on accident. I thought it was 70, and it's not. It's 50. Yeah. So it's useless. I can pour it all down the fucking drain right now, and I'm pissed.
So all that to be said, to what Jared's saying, it's very I'm lucky I've been more distracted. I had my kids all last weekend. I've been distracted with work. I've been distracted with things, but it's very odd. I love going to do my work at cafes. I like to drink coffee throughout the day while in between meetings and seeing producers and stuff. I'm a big guy who goes to Starbucks to decompress for an hour and do emails or write a script. To not do that, it's very, very strange. It's quiet. I will say I'm surprised I'm saying this, and we'll get into it if you want. I miss sports. I'm surprised I'm craving it horribly. But my life has not been affected by it yet. Meaning like I'm not having meltdowns on watching baseball. I'm not watching the March. I love tournaments. It's one of my favorite things in the world. It's not like it's I guess the one thing I found in my life is that's given me a chance and opportunity to finally get some stuff organized around the house. Or do some things that I am the worst at this. I'm like, one of these days I'm going to put all these fucking things in frames. So that's what I've been doing. I finally have said, okay, you've been saying this forever. And so slowly and surely, with the help of Jacksonville and my oldest son, we have been finally putting things on walls.
Nice.
Around. And like, those are the kind of things I've been doing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, I busted out my electric guitar and my acoustic guitar that were actually getting packed to move. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start playing again because it's been years since I played, and, signed up for some Fender lessons, and I've been playing video games and doing shit that I haven't done in forever. And obviously I'm cooking every meal in the house. Andy, I will do a tally of how many meals I have cooked, how many dishes I have done, sinks full of dishes I would done by the end of this self-imposed quarantine in our house. My hands are raw. I use the lotion all the time now. It's very strange to be lotioning my hands because of how much I have to wash them on a daily basis now. It is insane. And it's it's the only thing I can do. And you speak about going, having your Starbucks. I can't even drink coffee, not even a half a cup. If I have a half a cup right now, Andy, it triggers me. It triggers me, and that anxiety and that panic kicks in. So I'm avoiding even caffeine at this point. I'm drinking a nice orange peel tea at the moment, and I may have one cocktail tonight, maybe one. Well, I don't even know if I want to do that. I don't even know.
No, it's very, the one thing that I feel very sympathetic for. There are some real people. I'm one of the lucky ones that I actually have money where I can live off her, because I'm not going to get paid as much right now. I'm going to have a fucking busy summer, but I'm not getting paid much right now because of this. I'm very, very lucky. I feel for people who have to go to work, who are truckers, who are grocery store clerks, who are pizza delivery men.
That are keeping this country running and keeping people
And by
alive.
the way, for people who are doing that, God bless you. Keep going. You're doing great.
Yeah.
It's very important stuff you're doing, and we need that stuff. It's important to do that stuff. And I can't say enough of that. Like I realize there are ways to go do things, but you can't do groups larger. I say 5, like larger than 10 is silly. They're all saying that now. So to Jared's point, we've all been very proactive about washing hands. I know my kids and I have been, and everybody else, but it's the one thing I've really come to realization of. I'm glad to hear these videos of people clapping for nurses and doctors who are going on shift changes. Saw something the other day. I think that stuff's really important. But again, the people who work at grocery stores and pharmacies, and these
my sister's one of them.
You know what? They're very important jobs, and we thank you.
Yeah,
I thank you every day. Keep going, keep grinding it out. It's not easy. I can't imagine what that job's like right now, because you're afraid to go in probably sometimes, and you get people like myself who are wearing gloves, and others are wearing gloves and masks. By the way, I think all those are smart things to do now.
Yeah.
And I think those are the things that I just wanted to give my one shout out. All those people who are the people that we really need right now to keep going and keep the economy kicking, which is not kicking at all, pulsating, I'll say. I think that stuff's very important. And I'm lucky. I feel very lucky. I don't have to be out there doing that. Very lucky.
You bring that up, and I think about my sister, who's been on my mind a lot lately, because my sister is a pharmacist, a pharmacy tech, and she has been stuck in one of those places. I won't give out the name of which one, and of which brand, but I know the hours that she's putting in. I know the risks that she's taking. Thank God it's the drive-through only at this point. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I can't imagine all the stress, and it's been difficult for me to even talk to her lately because she works, and I'm usually, she's working all day, and then I'm winding down and I'm going to sleep, and she's getting off work or whatever. And it's I think all of us, there's not a single person in this country that's going to be able to look at and say that they don't have somebody who is in harm's way, that they don't know somebody who
that's my point
is in a situation that isn't necessarily the best. And so that's exactly, it goes right back to when you're talking about the woman who got angry with you in the line, and there's no time for that shit. There's zero time for that type of behavior and that shit. There's none. There is no time for that. This is not the fucking time to fight over petty bullshit.
It's not. Guess what? And guess what happened?
Got me all wound up.
But I'm going to give you a silver lining. Then if you are, I'm going to talk sports.
Yeah, same.
Guess who forgot her purse, forgot her wallet to purchase her goods, and guess who still beat her out of the grocery store?
Oh my gosh! Well, karma is a biatch.
Sneaky good.
Not that you want.
Going.
It's a little. I mean, it's a little petty, but I understand.
Oh, let's be petty. Let's be petty. I'm missing my dash.
No. There's just no room for that. There's no room for that, and I know that we're going to run into it, but I promise you, Andy, my response, at least my promise to the audience and to you, is that I will do my best that if I am in some sort of situation like that, I will try to calm that person down. I will not engage them. I will graciously remind them that we're all in this together. That's the only response I think that I could even come up with, because otherwise I'll lose my own mind if I engage people like that. I just
kept my head down, went down to the next aisle. It's like, whatever. I don't have this.
So I know this is a sports podcast, and I know we want to talk about Cleveland sports because there's a lot of that to talk about. I do want to say that I did try to tune in to watch Hayden Grove do his live performance tonight on Facebook, his Michael Bublé tribute. For all the folks in Cleveland who are not going to be able to see Michael Bublé, obviously, yet he never went live, at least at 8, or I'm dumb and don't know how to figure that out, how to watch wherever he was broadcasting from. So we're going to have to figure that out with Hayden soon. I think we were talking about having on back on the show in a couple weeks anyway. So.
Mandy Bell and Hayden Grove are coming. Yeah. Those days are coming. So
in the meantime, football hasn't stopped. The coronavirus has not had any impact apparently regarding their foot on the pedal here with the NFL. Andy, let's talk Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
Hello, everybody. We're going to start the show here on the Sports Take. I'd like to say this little segment is sponsored by Higher Speed Cable on the internet. For people who were wondering, I got a lot of funny reactions from people listening to the show saying, that's one of your best episodes ever. We liked the humor that you guys were saying. Like, that was some humor, but pure pain of the internet not working. But shout out to Paul in Vermont, who thought that was one of our best podcasts.
I will say there's some glitchiness on my end here, getting you right now. But that's all right. You just keep rolling in.
Don't you fucking ruin this.
I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at Comcast.
Well, fucking Cox, I got the highest speed you can have. So I can't even pronounce it. It's a fancy name. Caviar. It's like, I don't know. Anyways, okay, let's get to sports. All right.
56K.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Did you unplug your phone and then plug that cord into your computer?
Yes. We're on the internet. We're going to space through this. All right, here we go. Trent Williams rumors is where we're going to lead off today. There is a lot of rumors about where he's going to go. The hot team now is the Bengals. The Bengals definitely need offensive line help, so that's not surprising. I think the bigger story here for us is that word happened. What does that mean? I don't think anything really in particular, because the Bengals aren't going to be very good. They're going to have a first-year quarterback. So the bigger question here is, which is where I want to lead off the show, and it kind of plays into Hubbard. So let's get into Hubbard real quickly. Hubbard restructured his deal on Thursday, the 26th. So now and it's smart because he wasn't going to be kept on this team. So he got a deal where he was going to get capped. He's going to make some money, and he's definitely a 6th or 7th offensive lineman, which is fine. That's a good role for Hubbard. Hubbard coming off the bench and playing for guys who are injured or need breaks. I have no problem with that. So the bigger question that's been bantered about a lot on Cleveland radio and a lot of Cleveland. The other things I'm listening to is, should the Browns make a run for Trent Williams and make a trade for him? I'll leave this off. I actually don't think that is why. I don't think that. I think if the Redskins were to cut Trent Williams and you try to sign him, I'm listening. Trading for Trent Williams for draft picks, I just don't think is smart. Normally, I'm the opposite. I don't feel this way about Trent. He has not played in a while. I just think right now the Browns need to stay pat. They've actually made some smart decisions. Let's just keep where we're going right now. I know it's so risky to have a big left tackle. As we've all speculated on this podcast and everywhere else in Cleveland, we all know that 10th pick is made from one of those offensive linemen. And that's that.
Andy, I'm 100% in the same corner as you. That was exactly what I was thinking because of the same thing. What are we actually getting with Trent Williams? This is a new regime. I feel like this upcoming draft is going to be such a crapshoot for everyone. Well, I said it earlier. Everyone's Ray Farmer this year. No one's going to watch anyone play. No one's going. All they're going to do is watch the tape. They're like Hugh and Ray Farmer. They're going to watch the tape. They're not going to go and scout any other way. So this is a year where I'm really interested in seeing how the draft plays out. One, because it's a new regime, and two, because of the way that it's going to have to roll out. Also, again, going back to Trent Williams, you said it best. If they cut him, great. If they cut him, yeah, go for it. But why would you give up some picks for uncertainty? It's not like
it's not like Coughlin, who you knew where you're getting. You saw him year 4, you know what's coming in.
There you go.
In this case, of Trent Williams, he hasn't played a year and a half. Also, that relationship with the Redskins, I don't follow the Redskins day to day. I don't want to say he's right or wrong, Jared. But let's be fair. That was a mess. I don't want to bring a guy in. Now, look, that's the one thing. Maybe prove it and do everything else. To be said, I think Trent Williams has really put himself into a corner. His agent is definitely freaking out. I don't blame his agent for freaking out because you really got to tell your client something at this point. I'm sure I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to get something done. And, you know, Trent Williams, Tony Grossi said it best, so I'm not to steal his thunder, but Tony said it today. You know, the pressure is on his agent because as soon as the draft happens, Trent Williams' value goes down, and it goes down in money, and it goes down in numbers.
So
and
you
by the
wait
way,
it out. You wait it out.
It really puts all the pressure on them. I just don't see the need to make that move, Jared. I'm with you. I don't really have a lot else on it. I know the other guy floating around is Jason Peters. I would sniff that. I'm surprised that has not come up more, but obviously the Browns are waiting. I think actually, you know what? The Browns are saying everything from what the Browns are indicating is they're going to draft a left tackle. Someone to play in the offensive line is going to play left tackle for the Browns. Again, I will state this time and time again. I was floored. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'd be floored at this point because how they're building this offensive line, how they got everything else figured out. Now you got your backup in Hubbard, who played last year for the team. Jared, they need an offensive line. They need a left tackle. That's it. Everything else is stacked that direction. That's such an important.
You can tell that's the need that they're going to lean into the most. At least my opinion is, Andy, when you look at the fact that they're trying to bolster the backfield with fullbacks, not one but multiple. When you look at them also trying to grab when they grab an extra tight end, you're doing things that point in the direction of this is looking to be a hard-nosed team that's gonna run first. That's gonna really focus on the run. I don't see that. They don't need any flash at wide receiver right now. That could change. We know that. But at this point, I think you're right. I think offensive line is where they're gonna go, and I'm okay with that with what they already have in place on that offense. If some of those other things change, then that goes out the window.
Right. The one thing before we get into other moves, I'm gonna go on my little 1-minute rant. I think there's 2 guys on the Browns who have been forgotten that need to be brought back up, and you hit one: Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett. These 2 guys, for some reason, have been more in the background, and then it's been all about Baker Mayfield, and that is the story. I've been talking about it. That is the story, but people need to remember. Nick Chubb should have won the rushing title, should have been an all-pro, was so reliable as a player. You have someone who you can really rely on to win games and win games consistently. And Myles Garrett, we all know that was foolish. He got suspended for the year, rightly so, in my opinion. So all those things make sense. But Myles Garrett, when he was off the field and gone, my God, did this defense take a huge step backwards. Mm-hmm. So I just I wanted to bring this up before we get into other stuff. I think these 2 guys are not getting talked about enough. And they need to start getting talked about.
I want to know if part of this issue, especially with the picking up the extra year with Myles, I wonder how much that has to do with that interview with ESPN that he did. Because a couple of weeks ago, we know that he's basically come out and said he regretted not giving the team a heads up about it. I'm wondering how much that stuff plays into it.
I'm ready. He did his apology. He apologized to the Browns. Time to get on your adult pants and move the fuck on. I think the Browns need to get the fuck over this.
Right.
I'm tired of this.
Right. But it did drag out.
Oh, buddy, it's dragged out. Why not pick up the option? I've said
I think
this.
it's obnoxious. I think it's obnoxious.
It's awful. I want to talk about this. Myles Garrett has not been treated correctly. He got suspended, which is proper. Paid bad. Everything was been done. The interview, I actually didn't think it was that bad. Should he have told the Browns about it? Yes, he should have. That was a mistake. He apologized for it and moved on. Lesson learned. You have to start moving forward. This guy can be a great leader for this team. This guy's a great player on the field. Let's build him up and not tear him down. We're starting to tear him down. My belief, quietly. I want to start building him back up. I want to start talking more about him. He's a very good player.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what he's doing for the community right now regarding coronavirus. Let's talk about that. How he's out there helping feed people.
Forbes put out, I think either today or yesterday, their top most valuable players in the team. Number 1 in Forbes is Myles Garrett. And I think they're right. Myles Garrett is folks, if you watch those last 6 games on defense, it was atrocious. Even the Dolphins, the Browns got lucky. The Dolphins could have been in that game. And I'll tell you, the Bengals home game was not far behind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We had a fucking guy named Duck throwing balls down the fucking field. Why? Because we couldn't fucking sack him. and I mean, I just don't think
it was so
he's being
bad.
talked about enough. Buddy, it was bad. And look, and by the way, we're going to be reliving it in Browns season parts 2 and 3 here in a few weeks. Everybody get ready and bring your vodka. But Nick Chubb, by the way, is another guy who needs to start being brought up more. And I actually think too, Jarvis Landry. But more importantly, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is your best offensive player on the field, period. It doesn't mean this offseason is about building 6 and about improving 6's game and making 6 that player. We all agree with that. But going into the season, your best player is 24. Use him.
6's problem was 2 things: bad coaching, lack of discipline.
Yes.
Bad coaching, no discipline. If he's calling his own audibles and changing plays at the line of scrimmage and pissing Freddie off, and them 2 aren't on the same page, there's a discipline issue because he's doing whatever the hell he wants. And there's a coaching issue because he's doing whatever the hell he wants.
Yes.
And he's not giving the right guidance.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Those 2 things change, he's fine. Those 2 things change, he's fine. I think those 2 things are changing.
No, I think it's going in that direction. But I just wanted to give this team in this offseason, I don't know why. Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett feels like they've been forgotten. I want them to start being talked about more. We need to talk about these 2 guys. They need to be championed. These are 2 of our leaders. These are 2 of our guys. These are the guys. These are guys who need to have C's on their jerseys. These are guys who are big time players for our team. Okay, I did my rant. You can, and by the way, if Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett, you're listening, so I love you both. Other moves that happened this week that were minor, not like the week before. Safety, Andrew, boy, forgive me, Andrew, I'm going to mispronounce your name. Sinjeo. He is a safety.
It's Sendejo.
Sendejo, yes, thank you. Thank you very much. The internet
I'm sorry that I let you even go through that.
It's fine. We're now even. I'm not paying attention.
I was trying to... Listen, that's because the page got a new follow right at this moment. I was a little excited about that.
Sendejo. Again, Sendejo. See, karma comes around. Sendejo really is a player that doesn't play much, but he got a 1-year deal. They need safety help. So at this point, a body's a body. Donovan,
I feel like that back. I feel like I feel like in the secondary, that's all they've been signing is a bunch of bodies.
I agree. That's why Olivier Vernon.
Are these like try them out sort of things here? I mean, because you're talking like, why are we throwing $2.25 million at a guy?
I know. Well, listen to the next guy, Donovan Alumba. He came in. Now, the Cowboys were higher on him as the season ended. Did he play a lot last year? Nope. So he's another guy, a defensive back coming into the Browns. He played for the Cowboys, who did not play a lot. But they think the key thing here I was reading, they like his special teams areas. So it sounds like a guy who's going to be competing for special team and fine with me as well. By the way, if people forget, they put out efficiency rankings today. The Browns, it's hard to not to forget this. The Browns ranked both on offense and defense 22nd. Okay. And special team, I know. So
we're not the worst. We're not the worst.
Below average. Just enough to piss you off. Well, they pissed us off a lot. Special teams, the Browns ranked 9th.
That's got to be. That's up there. That's up there in the since the expansion have come back, right? I mean, we're talking. That's got to be a top 3 special teams.
And hey,
the Browns have come back.
If you don't fucking put Dontrell Hilliard back there, and Austin Seibert makes all his kicks, you might be top 3. I mean, you've handicapped yourself. When I read that stat, I'm like, think about this. If the Browns actually put a competent guy to catch balls, so they signed that guy from the Rams, and Austin Seibert doesn't get confused by the wind on the one side of the stadium. By the way, I don't want to fucking hear about that next year. I don't want to fucking hear about
it's swirly, Andy. It's swirly.
Great. In a big spot. We're going to have to, we're on the fucking wrong end. Great. We're going to have to go for it. Why? He can't make them. I don't want to hear that.
It's swirly.
Anyways, the other guy that got signed is Evan Brown. He's a backup center, played for the Dolphins last year. He did play in 3 games for the Dolphins last year. That is one of those pickups, and this is the only reason why I'm mentioning him, and we'll forget about him. That's one of those pickups I can tell they said, we thought we saw something when he played for Miami last year, and you could tell they're just hoping to catch lightning in a bottle. Because you do need a backup center. J.C. Treader, yes, he's reliable. Yes, he's all that. I mean, every day last year for the last 2 years, I mean, before weeks of games, Treader probable, questionable. I mean, it felt like that was almost every week with Treader. So to pick up a guy like that, it's catch lightning in a bottle. You will forget all these names by tomorrow. But anyways, those are the signings this week. Hooper came out and made some comments because they finally made that announcement this week. And the big thing that came out of that is he states that the big potential was partnering with Baker Mayfield. That's exciting. Yeah. His comment, quote, playing against Baker live, seeing his arm, seeing his competitive spirit, the way he can rally the boys around him, that's what sold me on him before I was even a free agent, end quote, by Hooper. Now, people forget the year before, that was that great game against the Falcons where, by the way, that was a game I thought Chubb came alive really in the Raider game, but he came onto the scene in the Falcon game. He just exploded. He had a huge game. He had that 94, 92-yard touchdown run in that game. So, for Hooper, I thought that was great to hear. I was excited to hear someone say that. And then you got this too. So Keenum announced his signing. For anybody who hasn't seen it, he put out a great video on social media. Check it out. Very cool. Seems like a Cleveland guy through and through. I already love that juju with him. I'm
Gets Us guy.
I think this guy's going to be great.
We love our Gets Us guys.
Yeah, I like it already. But the bigger thing to me, and then we'll get into the other thing, which is Jake Delhomme.
Yeah.
But first, let's get to Baker. Baker actually reached out to Keenum after his signing. Quote from Keenum. Baker reached out to me I'm sorry, let me start again. Baker reached out as soon as the news broke, which really meant a lot to me, end quote. Quote, I have a lot of respect for him and what he's done on the field and off the field too. First and foremost, I know my role coming in. End quote. Let me repeat that last statement. First and foremost, this is from Keenum. I know my role coming in. Let's now talk about Jake Delhomme. Remember him? He was that quarterback who started one game. Didn't even make it out of the Tampa Bay game. Never saw Jake Delhomme again. But Jake Delhomme was on CBS Radio, and he had some comments, and he warned Baker Mayfield about Keenum coming there. Quote, they need better quarterback play in Cleveland. There's just no other way of saying it, end quote. They have another quote. Don't be surprised if you see Case Keenum come November if Baker struggles. I don't think they'll be afraid in the least bit to put in Case. Baker wasn't drafted by this regime that has taken over. If he plays well, great. I'm happy for him. But if he struggles, don't be surprised if Keenum takes over, end quote. Jared,
okay. Andy, let's just break that down into its simplest form here. If Baker doesn't play well, Case Keenum will come in. That's a no shit quote is what that is.
If they're
I'm not taking any, what does that really mean? That's such an obvious comment. That's like saying if my shoe doesn't fit, I'm going to go and buy a new pair. Well, no shit. Like, what are we talking about here?
If the Browns go 2-6 again, the Case Keenum swirling will begin. But by the way,
sure,
this is the big.
Of course it will.
But this is the big. By good to hear Jake Delhomme's still alive. Didn't even know he was around. Haven't heard from him in years. And when I saw that quote today, I'm like, where the fuck is that guy been? Jesus. His career start ended in one game. That's one of the worst fucking. That Tampa Bay game was such a gut punch when they lost that year. Opener. Unfucking believable. And in Seneca, I think it was the Seneca Wallace show. Ugh, all right. Let's not go back down memory lane.
Don't, please, let's not.
What else? Okay, let's talk about this year. Here's my comment, though. I like what Keith Keenum is saying. Keenum is basically admitting, I know I'm here. I'm here for a backup. I am now ready to go. This is not like Brian Hoyer, who's competing with Johnny Manziel for playing time.
Which that's a frustrating shit
that was a shit show. Talk about the biggest fool's goal. It's amazing that team was in first place after that Thursday night game against Cincinnati.
Right.
But all that to be said,
riding high, brother.
Much different situation. But the bigger thing here, forgetting Jake for a second, the bigger thing here is what we've alluded to, which I will say again, which I know you have said it too. If the Browns don't get good quarterback play from 6, yes, I'm sure Keenum comes in. But that is bad news because that means, again, the quarterback situation is way up in the air.
But here's the thing too, Andy. And I don't there's a part of this in here that seems like a touch of reckless speculation, not to steal from others, but it is. Where Jake Delhomme is talking about this wasn't their guy. This regime didn't draft him. So what are you saying? That they're going to try to set him up for failure? I mean, there's a hint of that being said in that comment that's there's zero evidence of that just because he's not their guy that they didn't draft him. Well, who listen, of all the positions on the field where you hope you don't have to draft your guy, I'm guessing it would be quarterback. You want a guy to already be in a spot to be successful as your quarterback so that you don't have to worry about drafting a new quarterback if you're a new regime. So none of that even matters to me. None of it. Do you know what I'm saying, Andy? Like, it's not like these guys are going to come in here and go, man, I really love this Browns team. I love what we're doing here, and here. But you know what? That Baker Mayfield, we didn't draft him. Who gives a shit? It's the quarterback. Of course, they're going to want to set him up for as much success as they can. They're going to build the offense around him. They're already doing it. I mean, there's a lot of pieces that were already in play. They're probably going to need to focus more, again, like we had talked about, on that secondary on the defense. And we want to make sure that we figure out what's going on opposite of Myles Garrett.
Yes.
But to say that we're going to talk about worrying about quarterback at this point, that's probably the last thing that any of them want to worry about.
How about this? I said what Jake Delhomme said too, but here's the difference. This staff has proven they're trying to help 6 out as much as possible.
Yes.
And 6 is buying in. Now, I do agree with Delhomme, and I said it too, and I still believe it. This is not their guy, and I think they will bail. I don't think if this does not, the only difference between this year and other years with this, if it doesn't work, I do think Baker's in big.
But he's going to get
a Cleveland Brown.
But we were at a point. We're at a point for that no matter what, aren't we?
Yes and no. I do think though the rope is
like if Freddie was still here. I mean, it's hard to even say that. Oh, poor Freddie. But like, I mean, if I'm being serious, this is year 3. He's going to have weapons. They're going to build. They're building a better offense around him and a better game plan around him already. I mean, at least we can feel that way, right?
Everything on offense looks to make sense. I feel much better about this team than I did in mid-January.
If we're saying this is Baker's job to lose, then sure, we can say that this is all on Baker at this point. If he doesn't do well, then he's gone, and I understand that. Absolutely.
By the way, I think all that's true.
Yeah.
But we're Delhomme, and what I think you're implying, which I agree with. Delhomme is saying, yes. He's saying something that is kind of Captain Obvious. Yeah, they're 2-6 after 8 games. Yeah, Keenum's going to start getting swirled. And by the way, it's going to be hell on earth for us because that means we're starting all over again with the quarterback.
Cool, whatever.
We've been there. Travis
it ever was. David Byrne, baby.
Let's get that Clemson video. Let's see that Lawrence kid. I mean, but all that to be said, I do think this is progressing the right way. I think Baker's off the field attitude has been really good. So I like everything that's going. I think the Keenum move made a lot of sense. And again, they have a lot more parts here to be successful. And I believe they have the coaching staff in place. I think the bigger off story is the Browns, which I don't want to do too much of this today. I want to save it because I think it's just so obvious. This team not being able to really bond together in one room for the next 2 or 3 or 4 weeks to months is bad. That's the only thing. And by the way, there's nothing you can do about it. You're going to have to be virtually talking to people left and right. They're going to have to really make sure that they're homing in on everybody in this team to see what everything's going on. This is a new coaching staff. Everybody's brand new, and you do have some new players. It's not a total turnover with the roster. It's not. But there's a few new parts here you need to make sure everybody's in place. That's the only thing, Jared, with the Browns that I'm concerned about. New coaching staff, never coached in a football league before as a head coach. And here we go. You don't get any offseason. Maybe late July, August. Maybe. And I'm guessing that. I think April's out. In May, I don't think so. So it means probably late July. It's a lot of pressure for a young staff. For a head coach who's never coached a game before.
Well, doesn't some of that play into Baker's favor?
It does.
Considering, one, this will be his 3rd season with the team as opposed to all these other folks.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, I had a 2 that felt a lot more solid than it must have been because I forgot it. But there's just more. There's a lot more play. And you're right. We should take into consideration the fact that there is going to be a lack of cohesiveness. It might look like Freddie football early on.
It's going to be hard
considering things. I don't know. Can they utilize Zoom and all of those things that we use for work right now to scheme and to converse and to mentally work their way through what their plan is? They're going to have to do some of those things.
By the way, do you know who got a big break on that? Paul Podesta.
Yeah, because if it doesn't work, hey, how can you put this on me at this point? I know, but can't all of them do that at this point too?
Well, they all can. Everybody talks about Andrew Berry, and he's big. There's no question. I am okay. I'm ready to say it. Starting next week, I'd love to hear a little bit from Podesta. How's he? I mean,
where is he right now?
California. By the way, that's different now. I can't go on that rant. If that has changed, I can't.
Yeah, I don't want him traveling or going anywhere.
For people who don't know, I wanted Podesta to be on the ground in Cleveland every single day of the week. Because of the coronavirus, I can't make that argument. I think they all should watch the film Spaceballs. I fucking agree, AJ. EJ made a comment on Facebook. I think they should all watch a film called Spaceballs. I agree.
I think we're going to have a Spaceballs reference in every episode from here.
By the way, you know what we could do if we want to right before the draft? We could drink like beers and stuff and watch Spaceballs as we comment and do draft coverage. That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
They'd do like a whole thing. That would be fun. We'll talk about that offline.
Like one of them Joe Rogan fight episodes.
Right. But Paul D. Podesta, I do think needs to start having his presence felt. This is a guy who said, "This is my plan, my thing." Haven't heard much from him. Just curious. I'd like to hear something from him. I'm ready. Right? Just a pinch. Hey, Paul, how's California?
Don't look at the man behind the curtain, Andy.
No, I want to.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
All right. I'm going to say that for later, but I just want to start teeing that up. So I'm going to start beating that drum. I'm ready to hear from him. Is this Valley and his vision? The Browns also brought in offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs on virtual meeting. So they talked to him this week. That's according to Justin Mello of DraftWire. So he thought that, I guess and by the way, you're going to hear more of those kind of rumors. For people who don't know, Tristan Wirfs is the big offensive tackle from Iowa, who people are all those guys are high on, but he's one of them. And so it sounds like they're virtually meeting with them. So you hear more of that. Now, this teases up into the NFL draft. Roger Goodell put an end to the discussion about rumoring the NFL draft late last night into this morning. People didn't see there was a memo passed around, and at the very bottom, he threatened people who worked in the league, do not push back on this or say things that are negative against us. We're having a draft on April 23rd. Period. End of sentence. So for people, that was a wild rumor this week. That rumor is gone. The draft is continuing on. Here's my quick 2 cents about it. I am very in the middle on this as I was about free agency. I don't mind it. There's certainly nothing here that says you can't do this because you can do everything virtual. I am not naive. It's going to be a cool fucking television show.
It is. The
it
entire fucking country will be tuned in.
Unless Jared and I can't pull it off, we will do that live. That would be fun.
Yes.
I think that would be great to do. But I think it is all welcome stuff. The only thing is, with everything going on in the country, too much. People can debate that. I understand that argument. The other thing is
we do have to acknowledge, Andy, and I do think this must be said, that Roger Goodell can threaten all he wants, but in this day and age right now, in this time period in history in this country, April 23rd is like a fucking year from now.
Yeah, it really is.
It's every day feels like a month right now.
Yes. No, you're right.
I don't know. April 23rd. Oh God. I don't even want to go there. Let's keep talking sports. You know what I'm saying though.
No. The big thing here is there's lots of things going on. The other thing too.
I hope to God we can do a live show. We'll just put it that way. That's what I want. That's what I want more than anything.
The other big thing from this though is we just talked about how Tristan Wirth is having a virtual meeting with the Browns. A lot of the GMs are worried that they can't go and see players and spend time with players and all that. Now, I will say virtual stuff that goes on with Zoom Cam and everything else, and Slack, and there are ways around that for sure.
Well, and go back and listen to our analytics episode, Andy. We all know that the draft is a crapshoot. They can act like they've got their special insight and all that shit, but they don't.
And the other big thing here, I'm going to say that, and you're right. The other thing here is too, and this is where the crapshoot really is a crapshoot, especially for Tua. He came with a horrible injury. You're not going to have your doctors around him. You're going to have to trust what's been reported and trust what his doctors are saying. You're not going to be able to spend time with him to see what's going on. It's like Tua. Guys like CeeDee Lamb was banged up last year for a wonderful wide receiver. Big time player. They're not talking about his injuries so much. He's banged up at the end of the year too. Have little dings and for those players, you are curious, or you're 100% healthy and everything else. Jared, that is where this having the way to will hurt or be more questioned, everything else. All that being said, if I had to list on the plank, I think it is good. They're moving on in April. And I will say this, it's not right or wrong. I'm just being honest. I think the big reason why Goodell's doing this is because he's trying to say, you know what? I don't lose momentum of starting the season on time in September. And this is going to keep the train rolling because as soon as the NFL draft gets pushed backwards, you're now getting into the thing of delays. And that's coming. The NFL doesn't want to say it, but it's coming. Those delays are coming. You can see it. Yeah. Mini camps first up. That's not happening. So there are things that are
they have to. There's a give and take here, Andy, where they're going to have to not do those things if they're going to try to start the season on time.
That's right. So the NFL draft, to me, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. My gut feeling is Goodell really want to do it. Yes, for money and everything else. There's also this thing we got to keep going forward. The more you start slowing down, the harder it is to get started. So I do think that plays a part of it. Now, for people who missed, then we'll get on to NBA and MLB. Kirk Herbstreit made some interesting comments on a radio show saying he believes the 2020 season will not be happening in NFL and college football. I don't need to elaborate too much. I won't get the exact quote, because that's basically what he surmised. He goes, I don't think it's going to happen. People can take that comment for what it's worth. I will say, when you read that headline, to someone like myself, it's alarming because I've not gone there mentally yet. I always thought football will figure itself out along with baseball. But to hear comments like that from Kirk, you do kind of wonder, are there more people out there wondering if any sports are going to happen? Because if football goes away, that means there's no baseball. Basketball never happened. That means we're restarting again.
I think part of that might come from the fear. Oh, Jesus, here we go. It is unavoidable, but it's realistic. The fear of this being something that bounces back in the fall and in the winter again.
Well, yeah, and that's something that, okay, not to do this, but
God, it's painful. I know.
Dr. Fauci said something, I think it was Thursday. He brought up, whatever the cases are doing, the numbers are showing. Everybody predicts there's going to be an apex here in the next few weeks. So fine. Eventually, it'll go away. The thing that he's starting to realize is I think it's going to recycle starting in the fall like a normal flu season. Like the coronavirus will be part of the flu season next year. And that's something else to really consider. And I don't know what to say about that. And again, even when Dr. Fauci or I say something like that, he even says, like, I don't know. We're just projecting, but that is something that's non-play.
Yeah, because they have to project that way because that's you got to plan for the, hope for the best and plan for the worst.
Well, right. So all that to be said, that
we could have been fucking doing from the beginning, but
right.
What do I know? What do I know? What do I know? What do I know? Here we are again. Now I'm pissed again. What do I know?
Just remember,
just locked in my house. Just locked in my no big deal.
You know what the best
everything is fine, Andy. Everything's fine.
Everything's great. You know what the best is? This is the real metal. You get to test yourself and your kids. And I gotta be honest, I'll speak for mine. My kids have been absolute champs. And I've never been more proud of people because we've had hurricanes come through Connecticut and stuff, and that's been a little more bumpy. This time around, everybody's been in line, everybody's understood. And I got a 13, 10, and 6-year-old.
I will second that. And I will say that the only one in this house who has really had an issue has been me, admittedly.
And you've handled it well. You have. You're here. You're talking. You got the mics on. You did.
My kids, God bless them. Both of them. And what I can say is, I can tell my daughter's kind of thinking about some things lately, just by her behaviors. So I've been extra reassuring with her. And, my son's fine as long as there's a video game.
It's so funny. I have 3 boys. And you know what the biggest problem is? Dad, we're out of popsicles. Dad, there's not enough chips. Dad, like, why is the Wi-Fi not working? Your Wi-Fi sucks. You know your podcast, like, what the fuck? Like, don't say what the fuck, but like, God damn it, Dad.
Andy, I will say this: my son today, and this needs to be told because it makes me laugh. So I'm using the shower that the kids are using. My wife has the entire bedroom to herself, throughout all of this because of our situation with her. And I went to go and take a shower today. And beforehand, my son looks at me and goes, "Yeah, Dad, the shower I think I got to use that whole baking soda mixture we did the last time to try to unclog the tub. It's draining really slow." And I said, not thinking of it, like, yeah, we'll get to it. Whatever. I've got a shit ton of other things I got to worry about. I'm ridiculous, right? Here we go. Add one more. That's fine. Why not? I still got to put in the new InSync.
By the way, there's nothing more exciting when we cleaned. Jackson and I helped me. We cleaned our whole bathroom, and what do I find on Wednesday morning? Fucking ants. I'm like, God fucking damn it. The coronavirus can't kill those fuckers. God.
Again? Right. Here you are again.
Oh, no. I don't want to go on this. I am not an outdoors guy. I'm such a city kid. I don't like bugs. I don't like bugs at all. Bugs belong outside. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. There's a story. Yeah, like referring back to my daughter when she thought, because now it's an early tick season, I think, here in Maryland where I'm at. We get them really bad and they come in on our dogs and we got to pick like 5 or 6 off of them a year. And it's annoying. And so the kids, I've had to pull them off the kids in the 5 years I've lived here. I hate it. I hate that. But that's what lives here. There's ticks all over this area. And I've got like woods in my backyard. So my daughter last night panicked a little bit because she thought she had a tick in her bed. Man. And I never seen her panic like this. And it really, she had to sleep on the couch last night. And it really dawned on me. It wasn't really the tick, Andy. It's everything that's been.
Oh, it's everything else.
Right. So, but to go back to the funny story with my son, I walk in the bathroom. I look in the tub. It's got 6 inches of water in it. And the plug, the fucking plug is in the tub. So I said, Jaden, step 1, unplug your head from your ass. Step 2, unplug the drain and it will drain. that was it. But he thought it was clogged.
I will stay for a future podcast.
Took a shower with the plug in.
That's great.
Wondered why it wouldn't drain.
I told you my story about sun and bubblegum. I'll say it for another podcast. That's not for today.
Yeah. I know that story.
It's
every bit of what you exactly would think about it right now. Anyone who's listening or watching live. It used to be an old joke about sitting in bubblegum.
It's gonna live in Billman lore.
This is real life, though. We're talking about.
Oh my god, long time. All right, we're done with the Browns bubblegum. Let's move on quickly to the NBA. Then we're gonna sit forever on the Indians. So the NBA, there's again same thing. I've dug, I've digged, I've looked for things. There's different little stories here and there. The Cavs don't have much, so I'm not gonna spend. I love talking about the Cavs. I just don't have anything right now. So let's go to other stories that are important. Gobert and Mitchell are good to go. They got the clean bill of health. They're back and ready to go. And all the Utah's players and staff have been cleared by the Utah Department of Health after completing their respective isolation. So that's good news. Good. By the way, that for everything Jared and I have been talking about. To hear stories like that are good news because that's a situation a whole team could have got infected. To hear something like that tells you it is controllable. That is good news. Yeah. That's why we're doing social distancing. Yeah. That is a great, great thing. Mark Cuban made some comments earlier this week saying he's hoping for a mid-May return. That got a lot of pushback and a lot of discussion from people. I think Cuban had his heart in the right place with that comment. I think he's definitely trying to push to get things out. He is an owner, so he's losing money and he's feeling that heat. But he's
also been very vocal on Twitter regarding calling out congressional folks in Congress, telling them, speaking of needing to pull heads out of asses, he handed a couple of people their asses this week on Twitter.
Correct. And let me just say, too, Cuban did state this with clearances from doctors and everybody, like clearances. Like, I'm just going to roll out the balls without making sure everything's safe. But that got some interesting comments. And that kind of plays into this. I would advise people to read this article. So I thought Brian Windhurst and ESPN.com did a great job with it. China is trying to start their leagues. That was something big we talked about in the last podcast. They have already had delays. The season was supposed to resume in the first week of April. Then it moved to April 15th. Now the CBA, which is the China Basketball Association, restart has been delayed until late April or early May, sources said. That can mean a layoff of more than 3 months since the league shuttered. And that's all from Brian Windhurst's story. Read the story. The point being is hearing stories like what's going on in Cuba is so wishful thinking. And it's, you know what they're going to do in China is smart. They're picking cities that they think can isolate from the virus. So that way they're keeping players safe and keeping fans safe and keeping everybody safe. But hearing Jared, they're already having delays and all that stuff just tells you, I think outdoors is, maybe I'm naive. I think it's so different. By the way, for teams that play in domes in NFL, they need to keep that in mind. But for and teams that play in domes too in baseball, which is very few in between. Most of those parks now can open up. But my point being here is like seeing what's going on in China. I do think that's a reminder. Yes, it's getting better in China. Yes, things are going well, but they're still having delays and they're still feeling stuff. And even when it's getting good, there's still steps sideways or maybe even a little backwards at times, even when things are getting better with this thing.
Well, and again, there was only one Wuhan in China. It looks like there's multiple here in the United States.
Yep.
That's going to come into effect too.
Yep. That is the NBA. I did not see much more on that, and we're going to do the rest of the time here on the Indians. So the Indians,
Cleveland Indians.
And I looked around. I did not see a lot of other teams doing this, but the Indians have been making roster moves.
Yeah.
By the way, they're not allowed to now, which we'll get to in a second. But they, it's like they slid this in before what we're going to talk about next. But the Indians on Thursday afternoon decided Aaron Savali, Zach Plesac, James Karinchak, my guy, and Bradley Zimmer, remember him? They're all going to AAA. They're going to be starting off the year in AAA this year. So the
Bradley Zimmer earned that.
Yes, he did. That was teed up all the way from back in January. Where basically, or was it December? I don't remember. Maybe even earlier. Where Tito basically said, yes, we told Bradley he should keep playing. He's decided not to. So we'll see where the cards lie. And they obviously informed him pretty quickly. The cards lie with you going to Columbus. So that's where he'll be. For people who know, I love Karinchak. I just want to state this as I know this in my heart. The reason why they're doing this is they're trying to control his years with the team. And they're trying to send him down so they can get an extra year out of him with the team.
Right.
That's it, plain simple. Savali and Plesac is more explainable because here's your starting five. Clevenger, Bieber, Carrasco, Plutko, Humphrey, Rodriguez. Unless something happens, that's your starting five. Heffrey did not have the greatest of springs. We all know about Plutko, Carrasco, Beaver, and Clevenger. We won't go down those roads today. But that's your starting 5. That was the big news from all of this. Is that, and by the way, Anthony Ghost, they really think he can pitch. Because he was not a part of the names on that option list. So Clevenger, Bieber, Carrasco, Plutko, and Heffrey Rodriguez. That's your starting 5. Unless something very drastically changes.
Are you good with that?
Yes. Heffrey did pitch well when he started last year. Spring means nothing. And by the way, spring means really nothing now because you're going to have a break in between.
Yeah.
The only thing, again, and I get it. I should know better. Karinchak going down was only temporary. He'll be back up. But I know they did that for contractual reasons. They will never say that, but that's just it. They're trying to control his years. And I don't blame him. Kid's nasty. He's going to be around for a while. So that's the Indians roster moves. And by the way, I looked around. I didn't even really anybody else making roster moves. But for people who are wondering, why did the Indians make roster moves on Thursday? Well, that's because MLB and MLBPA came to an agreement today. Today's Friday the 27th. So there's a lot to decipher here. But I'm going to get some of the points that for people who don't know. The big things that came out here is they are agreed and they're good to go. But here's the headlines that the MLB and the Players Association came to agreement on. There are no bans on mass gatherings that would limit the ability to play in front of fans. However, the commissioner could still consider the use of appropriate substitute neutral sites where economically feasible, end quote. I think that's going to come in play in baseball. 2, there are no travel restrictions throughout the United States and Canada. 3, medical experts determined that there will be no health risk for player, staff, and fans. And they get to a bunch of other mumbo jumbo. But those are the big 3 things that comes from, hey, if we're going to start, here's how it's going to start. Here's the other big headlines that's more financial. The players agreed to a prorated salary if the 2020 season is shortened, which is probably going to be. I mean, it's going to take a miracle at this point to get on time and get 162. And by the way, the commissioner, Scott Van Pelt, basically admitted as much. He goes, I don't see 162. It's not dead, but it's on life support.
Yeah, I told you I'm looking at 60, 70, 75 games this year.
They don't want that few either.
I know they don't want it, but that's I'll take it, and I think that
they're gonna play a bunch of doubleheaders. That's gonna be very important.
You think they're gonna do? You think that's how they're gonna do it?
Listen to this: the players have agreed and have already told the baseball owners they will play doubleheaders to make up games.
Oh my God, this is gonna be like Little League.
Can
they do this and like not kill themselves?
Well, if you can play, you might as well keep playing. But here's the important thing with this:
day-night doubleheaders.
Well, here's the other 2 things that are going to come and play. Rosters will be expanded, meaning you're not going to have 25, you're going to have 30.
Okay.
35. Here's the other big thing.
Like Little League, man.
Yeah, and the players agree to this. Here's the other big thing. If you're going to play all these different types of games, let's just say now, a quick start's big. You may only get 3 months with a bunch of doubleheaders. 2, depth on a team is going to be big. Depth and health. If your team's not healthy and your depth sinks. So for people, I just read off those names, you're starting 5. Keep this in mind. You're probably playing doubleheaders. Savali, Plesac.
Yeah.
Those were one of those kind of guys that are incoming. Huge.
And Andy, it's more than that too. There's position players. The Indians are deep. The Indians are deep enough to have. I mean, they've got a half a starting lineup sitting in AAA.
Well, they're going to be playing Daniel Johnson, Bobby Bradley. I think you're going to see those guys.
Bradley, baby.
And he's going to be playing. You're going to see him up here this year. Yu Chang. Then you're seeing him.
I'm telling you, yeah. This has the potential.
Baseball's gonna be a lot of fun.
I've got a lot of emotions behind this. The sport of baseball just means the world to me, and it has my entire life. And the Indians, coming out of something like this, man, much needed.
Oh, it's
much needed. I've got a lot of high hopes for what I think this baseball season will mean, not only for me, but for this country.
Oh, for everybody. Baseball's going to be fun because they will find – I'm a big positive believer. I'm like Jim Cramer from CNBC. I think this will all turn. And when baseball starts, it's going to be buckle up. Here we go. you better know these minor league guys, which we're going to get to in a second.
And, oh, by the way, let's not forget that we all hate the Astros. Can we not lose that in all of this, by the way? Because this has been a really nice distraction for the Astros, and I don't want that to disappear. The Astros can go fuck themselves.
Ready for this? You should add a second team. And that team is up north for me, and it's called the Boston Red Sox.
Ah.
The investigation is done, and Manfred's not going to make an announcement until the start of the season. So you might have a team. Everybody goes Astros, and they're all right. I think there's going to be a second team. There's going to be a second team.
Well, I'll have to, apologize and be nice to my wife about it because she's a Red Sox fan. But oops.
For people who don't know me, and I can't fucking stand the White Sox, and I fucking hate the Yankees, and I hate the Tigers, and the Marlins. I loathe the Red Sox. There's nothing fucking better than those fucking nasty, terrible Red Sox fans feel the fucking wrath of being called cheetahs and the powder. Get hard. Pajoya. Fuck them. Anyways. So back to what's going on with the economic situation. Oh, I would love to see the Red Sox sit and fucking sweat that bullshit, and they fucking think they're so cool, and they play that goddamn stupid fucking song.
It is a stupid song.
Oh, fuck them. God, make them lose every goddamn fucking game. For kids who are listening, I'm so sorry I should not use so many curse words on the air. Okay, so the other big story here is economics. The MLB owners have also put in $170 million to help infuse and advance players who are needing it. And the MLB PA will divvy up the lump sums. They also have said that they're prorated, which means, as I was talking about this with Jared earlier today, they're basically not going to be paid salaries anymore. They're going to be paid hourly, a.k.a. per game, meaning every time there's a game on the field, you get a paycheck. So if for Frankie Lindor or for everybody else, even if you're guaranteed $14 million, that's for 162. You will be prorated to how many games you've been played. So everyone in baseball, if they don't play 162, will not be making as much money as they thought coming into the season. So that's number one. But here's the bigger thing. And this is why this became agreed to. And this is important. Everybody turn up their headsets or turn on their volume. The other big agreement was, though, that this will count as a season, even if it isn't a full season, or even if it's a partial season, or if there's no season.
Mm-hmm.
If baseball cancels their season, Lindor does not get 2 seasons.
Right.
He's down to 1. Contracts do not get divvied up saying, oh, we lost a year. We got you still for 2 years. No. The year turns no matter what.
That's big.
Big. So don't think if you lose games or you lose half. No. Frankie's either playing or he's not. And 2021 is his last year. That's it. That's huge. Huge.
And we already know that those contract talks had stalled, and that would sign everything right there.
And
they might end up, if the season's canceled, they might trade him right after.
Well, that's for another podcast. But
yeah, well, I mean, there's plenty of time to think about that stuff and to talk about it. But I think that's the route that would. I think.
By
that's
the way, I don't want that. I don't want. But
no.
He's right. But you're right. You're right. You gotta start talking about it. You. If this season gets canceled, you have to start talking. I don't want to. You have to. You have to. Yeah. The other big thing here too is arbitration. So when Frankie goes up for arbitration, he will not be taken for the 2020 season. It will be placated off the 19 season. So numbers for arbitration will not be counted for the 2020 season at all. Meaning if you get nicked or if you're Aaron Judge or whoever else or Frankie Lindor, say he gets hurt, oh my gosh, hopefully not, and he only plays 30 games, you're not getting that arbitration rating for the 30 games in 2020. You're getting your rating for the 2019 season. Nothing floats. 2020 numbers economically mean nothing. Nothing. Everything prorated will be prorated from 19. Very, very smart. That's why all this got agreed to. That was the big sticking point from the players.
It seems like this is the smartest Major League Baseball's been in a while, to be honest.
I think Major League Baseball has a huge chance to save themselves. Because here's the other thing I'm talking about. I said multiple doubleheaders, which sounds like, and by the way, players have agreed to that.
I didn't even realize that, and that's huge.
Huge.
That is That is something that I don't the NFL for sure can't do, and I don't think the NBA, even if they could do it, the players would never agree to it.
Do you know how cool? Oh, I can't wait for baseball. Both sides say they desire to play as many games as possible. The agreement also allows for the regular season to be extended into October, providing 31 more dates possibly. They're thinking about November, okay?
Well, that's where we got to start. Yeah, I know.
The postseason might be expanded and played, at least in part, at neutral sites, meaning everything. Major League Baseball said, look, the rules are not the rules. We're going to do whatever it fucking takes. We're going to do whatever it fucking takes to make this fun and make this playable. Transactions. So what the Indians did, this is another keynote. Transactions will be frozen when the deal becomes official, which is today. So no more roster moves, no more signings, no more trades. Everything's done until the season begins again. No more. You won't hear any more of those updates from Andy Bell or anybody else talking about roster moves. They're done. Roster sizes, we mentioned, are likely to be, at least for the start of the season, coming off an abbreviated spring training, the way they did for the players' return for the strike in 1995, meaning they're going to be expanded. The other thing here is, too, and that's a key, coming off an abbreviated spring training, everybody's going to need spring training. No matter if you start in July, June, you're going to need a little bit of spring training. The other things here, is there anything really else here? Not really. I just thought the big thing here, and let's get one Manfred quote. Look, my optimistic outlook is that at some point in May, we'll be gearing back up, Manfred said. Quote, we'll have to make a determination, depending on what the precise date is, as to how much of a preparation period we need, whether that preparation period is going to be done in the club's home cities or back in Florida, Arizona. Again, I think that goal would be to get as many regular season games in as possible and think creatively about how we can accomplish that goal, end quote. I love the way they're taking this. This is a miserable situation. I think Manfred has handled it. I think out of all the three commissioners, he has handled it the best so far. Adam Silver, too, because he had to shut it down. But if you want to talk about on the field, it's been Manfred. I love how Manfred's handled this. And I think it's so smart he got the PA to agree with all this. That alleviates so much.
It's in a way, it's kind of a relief, Andy.
It is.
It's a relief to see everybody playing nice. What I'm also liking that I see in this, that it probably will go mostly unnoticed, but we know that there's been a lot of talk in reducing the number of minor league teams that Major League Baseball is responsible for, and some of those teams losing their affiliations and all of that. But Major League Baseball is also talking about trying to make sure that these that minor league players are getting paid, because most of them haven't received a paycheck since the end of last season in early September. So even the small details like that
have been ironed out.
When we know that there were a lot of changes. I mean, it was, anyone back home knows, the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, people were really worried about, that short season single A team being on the chopping block. And
they're fine.
Yep.
The only thing that they had to do, which is going to be good for players who are on that fringe of being out of baseball, because there's no college baseball season, there's obviously probably quite a few players who are going to go back to school and play one more year, because they're going to get their eligibility still intact. Yeah. For people who don't know, if you're in a spring sport in the NCAA, you have already. I mean, I got to make sure. I think this is right though. They have the right to come back and still pick up as a junior. If they're a freshman, come back as a freshman next year. Obviously, that decreases your draft pool. So the MLB this year will not be as long. I mean, God, would they go 30 rounds? It's not gonna be like that. Sounds
right. Like there's plenty of there's no shortage of professional baseball talent out there in that.
Correct. So I thought that made also sense as well. And then to my last thing, and then we'll get to a couple other things and we'll wrap it up here. Investigation into Boston. Here, I knew I put it somewhere. We are done with the investigation, Manfred said. There's been a delay in terms of producing a written report, just because, frankly, I've not had the time to turn it around with other issues, which I believe. But we will get a Boston report out before we resume play. So Jared made a great point about the Astros. The Red Sox are right behind them.
Fine by me.
Oh,
it's easy for me to hate multiple teams during a season. I'm cool with that. I would just Fine by me.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine being a Yankees fan? The Yankees fan got fucking screwed by that guy by Altuve in that buzzer. And
Yeah,
then
but you know what? You know what though? Fuck the Yankees too. So
let their champagne. Let their champagne. By the way, okay, real quickly. Yeah. The Indians have benefited more than any other team as they were injured. The Yankees have benefited from this tremendously. They had a lot of players who were going to be out. So the Yankees got a big reprieve. And again, let's go into now to the depth of these teams. So, by the way, power rankings came out. I posted it on the Facebook site. The Indians are ninth. They're ninth, which means they'd make the playoffs.
So we're not crazy.
We're not crazy. Even the experts agree. Okay.
Well, I'm surprised because even a lot of experts still aren't on this train, but that's fine. I don't care. I don't need it.
The only thing that I wasn't surprised, but it just perturbs me is the fucking Twins are, I think, 6th or 5th or something.
Let them go. That's fine. That's fine.
Don't like them. I will boycott Dairy Queen. We got to beat the Twins this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Now to the Indians' power rankings when it comes to players who are minor leaguers.
Do you hear this? By the way, I got what we used to call a ghetto bird flying out over my house. Do you hear it?
No.
Circling. All right. I wondered if it was coming through or not. Yeah. There's been a helicopter circling my neighborhood now for the past 10 minutes. It's obnoxious.
Do you know what my favorite thing is? Is family members trying to call me on a FaceTime chat room during a middle of like a fucking podcast. God damn it. All right. Let's just wrap this shit up. I guess I gotta fucking all these women and oh my God, it's crazy. Fucking just get this done. All right. I mean, I don't think fucking paying attention to Facebook. Stop. Love you, Mom. Patrick Benji, stop. You've called me 3 fucking times. At least their internet didn't break up. Okay. The Indians, top 15 players in minor league baseball. They came up with the rankings. I would suggest looking at them. It's on Indians.com. Nolan Jones, who we've heard the name a lot this year. They're projecting him to become up this year. He's number 1. 2 is Tyler Freeman. I've heard his name in the past.
Yeah.
Bo Naylor, I've heard his name. He's the catcher. 2022. Tristan McKenzie, I've heard that name forever. He's had also, I feel bad. That guy was supposed to be up by now. He had some arm injuries. He had Tommy John. 2021, he's gonna be in AA. Listen to those are 1, 2, 3, and Tristan's 9. Here's your 11, 12, 13, 14. Logan Allen, who's gonna be up. He's left-handed pitcher. Bobby Bradley's 12. He's in 2020. Daniel Johnson, number 13. He's coming up this year. And then Karen Check and Clase are 14, 15. So my point being is the Indians minor league system is not what it was, but it's not poor either.
No, not at all.
I see things here that are good. I don't think it's perfect or great or where it needs to be, but I don't think the cupboard is bare. I don't think the cupboard's bare, Jared. That list made me feel good. So check it out. The big thing about all this, I want to say again, is depth and health is going to be in a hot start. Whenever this baseball season starts, it's going to be everything for the Indians.
It's nice. It's nice to see because you're talking about positions where they're going to need to replace at some point soon, more than likely. When you're talking about third base and Nolan Jones, when you're talking about a shortstop and a Tyler Freeman, obviously that's huge coming up soon. When you're talking about catcher, which was a position we were worried about, not so much now, but you know that stuff can change. Bo Naylor to fill in as a catcher would be great. Bobby Bradley, as long as he could start hitting the curveball. First base, we don't know how, Carlos Santana, he's got some years in him, but you know what I mean? There's just, it's nice to know that there are people waiting in the wings that if they stay healthy, they keep mashing, the Indians will be fine. They do it really well, man. They do. They reload really well.
Again, Nolan Jones, you probably heard his name. Logan Allen, Bobby Brantley, Daniel Johnson, Karen Check, Clase. You've heard all those names. They're all coming up. Tyler Freeman is in single A. Naylor is in single A. So you're not going to see them for a while. But McKenzie's not. Again, McKenzie at one point was one of the top prospects in his organization. So that's another person that'll be coming up soon. I can see you got all sorts of things going on in your background. So
my wife hears this too, and she's saying it's the helicopter's flying. She just texted me, helicopter flying back and forth near the house. And I just looked over, and it makes me want to go turn my front porch light on. Okay. I don't know.
Every time I hear you say that, I think of Goodfellas. That great scene where he's trying to Where they're trying to.
Oh, that movie. Speaking of movies that that's giving me anxiety, that's one of them.
Oh my gosh,
I can't watch that movie.
I love that movie. I watched it the other night. It's a great.
I need
movie.
my money. Give me my money.
Give me my money. Give me. Karen, why'd you throw away the cocaine, Karen? Karen,
I need my money. Give me my money.
Oh,
it's such a good movie.
It's such a good movie. Okay, we talked about, to wrap it up, we talked about the Indians finishing 9th. Check out the MLB Power Rankings on ESPN.com. This was the other list I want to just mention briefly. There's a 25 under 25 list, and I did open it up. And yes, there are no Cavs on that list. Wasn't shocked, but I got to admit, it's a little disappointing. You'd like to see a Sexton in there somewhere, make you feel a little better. You'd like to see maybe a Kevin Porter Jr. Yes, get the papers. Yes, get the papers.
EJ coming in now. I'm going to go get the papers.
I need to get my lucky hat. I can't leave without my lucky hat. What the fuck are you talking about? My lucky hat. I'm not going to leave without my lucky fucking hat. I got to go get the hat. What hat are you talking about, Henry? Anyways, more lines. I'll watch Casino too. We'll do all sorts of mobster films. Irishman's really good. So there's no Cavs on the.
Still haven't watched it.
Oh, watch it. It's really good.
I will. I've been binging on Letterkenny. I just am trying to live my best life, laughing at absurdity at the moment. It's my nice distraction. That's all.
I've heard a lot about the Tiger thing on Netflix. I'm gonna check that out. I will say Schitt's Creek is
my wife loves that. Schitt's Creek, I know. I can't say enough good things about it. Letterkenny is great. It's obnoxious. It's so absurd. It's a really good show. What I love is you ever watch Bumping Mics with Dave Attell and what's his face who does the I'm so pissed at myself for not being able to think of his name. The comedian who does the roasts. He's on a lot of the roasts.
I don't know.
All right, well my brain is just completely frozen, so I'm not going to be able to tell you. Watch Bumping Mics. There's not enough episodes of it. It's a bummer. I wish they had more of them, but it's on Netflix. It's hilarious.
As he thinks that, final thing that I am definitely wrapped up. I guess I got to go
in front of me. I can Google this. Go ahead.
Multiple FaceTime call with my family. Finally, Baker Mayfield.
Do you want me to just send an invite? We can bring him onto the show. Bring Adam into the live feed.
Oh, I think we should do this private. Baker Mayfield.
Jeff Ross, by the way. Damn it, Jeff Ross.
Yeah, I used to listen to the. I'm still a fan of his. I just don't have time. I love the Howard.
I met Dave Attell. I've loved Dave Attell since I was a kid. Since Up All Night, I used to watch Up All Night and love Dave Attell. Didn't get to see him in Afghanistan when he came, and I for some reason skipped out on that show. And I got to meet him at the Comedy Cellar one night before he went down and did a set. And we went. I never laughed so hard. Seven performances, seven different performers, 7 straight sets. Laughed the entire time, and Dave Attell closed out the night, and it was just. I would never go back to the Comedy Cellar though, because it's like it's one of them places where if you can't get to the exit, everyone's just going to die. It is not up to code for me. So
not coronavirus friendly.
Well, no, not that either. Yeah. It's a tight fit. You're packed in there. It's tiny little place, tiny little basement cellar, and above below a bar.
There you go. Hence why it's called a cellar.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Anyway,
finally, for people who have not seen, Baker Mayfield has been on social media a lot. And his latest one is he is working out in the garage.
Yeah.
According to his wife, he's killing the workouts.
Yeah.
I will say that photos looked much better than everybody saw back in the.
I saw him today and thought to myself that I know exactly why he's posting these.
Yes. He had some push-up thing that went backwards. So
he had the elbows in tight on that one. And I can tell you right now, for a military PT test, the way that they would have been counted is 1, 1, 1, 1. He wouldn't have gone. They wouldn't have counted. He's not doing.
I have learned something a while back. When you do things like that, they sound cool and fun, but if you don't do it properly,
you get slaughtered.
You get exposed.
Yeah.
So I think the garage thing is a good way. 6, stay in the garage. I like the garage.
Yeah, Do the garage. My gym's in the garage, covered in boxes because we were going to move. Now that's on hold.
Everything's on hold. And that is what's going on in Cleveland sports and then Jared Watson and Andy Billman's life for today.
Andy, good episode. Again, these are cathartic for me. I know they are for you too. And I'm hoping that they are for the audience. Being able to do these shows, being able to actually have content to talk about, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the ability to come on here and do this show. I'm grateful that I've got Andy as a friend to be able to do this show with. And I'm grateful for those who want to tune in and pay attention to us for some ungodly reason. I can't figure out why, but I'm grateful for that too. Probably because just like us, you love Cleveland sports and we're all in it together. And just like this situation, we're all in that together too. So thanks for tuning in. We are, of course, brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out. Original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. Also, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Cleveland and Beyond, on Twitter at CLE and Beyond, and our email, andyandjared@gmail.com. Shoot us a message, follow and subscribe wherever podcasts are found. We are there. Andy, any last words?
I just want to say I hope everybody's doing okay. It's been an interesting week or two for sure. And I echo everything Jared said. I value Jared as a friend. I value many things in life right now. Yeah. And there's nothing more I'm going to value more than after we get off this podcast, have a good glass of wine and a Corona Seltzer or something. By the way, Corona Seltzers are very good. To celebrate the humaneness of healthiness, I bought Corona Seltzers. I thought that was kind of ironic. They were on sale. So I thought I would induce myself into a seltzer coma with a couple of those. Those were good.
Okay.
They make you a little gassy, but they are really tasty.
Yeah, I think I may have one cocktail.
Yes.
And I may have another medical type thing that you can have in Maryland.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But no, being serious, be safe. Thank you. Everything Jared says right. These things mean a lot. We'll be back on next week. If there's little to no news, positive vibes, everybody. It'll be review part 2 for the Browns. If there's stuff to talk about, we'll just do a normal show. There you go.
Take care of your family. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Much love. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson. Andy and Jared, Cleveland and beyond. Talk again soon, folks. Take care. Love you. Be safe. Social distance. Wash your hands. All that good stuff. Buy Lysol wipes.
Just bathe yourself in Lysol.
Just bathe. Yes. Just smother yourself in Lysol.
It might sting at first, but it's so good.
Yeah, you just got to let it sink in. Let it soak. You'll be all right.
You get used to the burning real quick.
Yeah. Eventually, when you burn the first layer of skin off, you don't feel anything anymore.
You can't taste anything for a few days, but it's okay.
Yeah. Rub it on your tongue. Wring out one of them wipes on your toothbrush.
Can't believe I did that today.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that, by the way. I'm
right.
saying that, but I think I need to say don't do that because people are dumb. Clearly. Talk to you later. Take care. Good.